Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Hi, guys. Everyone see me and hear me okay? Please drop some hearts or something if you can see me and you can hear me before I get started. Hi, Kimura. Hi, Princess. Hi, Sarah, Zoe, Sandra, Sade, Dominique. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up because the more thumbs up you give, the more YouTube pushes out to other people, the more we can have in this live stream. So, hey. So, today's live stream is going to be all things foster care. That is the topic today. I figured that I would do weekly lives and just kind of go over the videos that I posted throughout the week. You know, sometimes there could be a lot of questions. It's very hard for me to keep up in the comments, but nothing is off limits today. We're going to be talking all things foster care. There is no wrong questions. So yeah, let's get started. Before I open the table to all of you all, to all of your questions, I just want to share a little bit about myself and my family so you know who you're getting this information from. My name's Christy. I have 5 children through foster care adoption. My husband and I adopted them, and we are from the San Francisco Bay Area, but we are now residing in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we absolutely love it here. We were foster parents for a little over 9 years. We have finally closed our home, and we're excited for the new chapter in life. We fostered 36 children from 2 different places, a county and through a foster care agency. So we have experience on both sides. A lot of our children went home to the parents. They went to family members. They went to our friends and our family. They were adopted by our friends and our family. And we kept 5 of them that really needed a home. And we felt like they would be a perfect fit for our home. So that's who I am. How are you guys today? Where are you guys? Can you let me know where you guys are from? I want to remind you guys to please be nice in the chat. Please be nice. France, yay. You're in Vegas too, huh? Chicago, New York. I have family in Chicago, London, Maryland. You guys are all over the place. So welcome. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you have any questions, please let me know. But as you know, foster care is an emotional ride for sure. And I know there's a lot of people that follow me who are interested in foster care or are already foster parents. So I thought this would be a really good topic to discuss today. Foster care to me is definitely a roller coaster of emotions, but it is so rewarding to have a broken child come in your home or a broken family and help them get on their feet, help them get their kids back, and help that child. It's very, very rewarding as well. So within foster care, you can actually have long-lasting relationships. We have lifetime friendships that we have built through some of the biological family of the children that we fostered. So that is really awesome too. I'm all about building that relationship. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Thank you, Aaliyah. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, I would love to hear them. I will try to get to as many as I can. I'm hoping to be on here for about 45 minutes or so, but I will do this weekly. So I'm hoping that it'll be around the same time, 12:15 Pacific Standard Time every Monday. That could change a little bit. It could be a little bit later. So the best way to catch my lives is to subscribe and get post notifications so that you will get notified when I go live. How often do you get calls? So Randy Martin asked, how often do you get calls when you foster to adopt? This varies greatly depending on if you're with a county or a foster agency. It's all about the relationship of the foster agency with the county. So it really ranges. So I remember when we first got licensed, we didn't get a call for a week and a half. But then after our first kids left, within 2 hours, we got another call. So it ranges from, I would say, 24 hours to like a week. I'd say it just really depends on the demand of your agency or the county that you're in. And also what you're open to. I mean, if you only want a newborn girl, you're probably not going to get as much calls as if you're open from like 0 to 5, or if you're open to fostering teens. It really varies. Have you tried Gabby Bose? Actually, I believe that they're sending me some stuff in the mail to try. Yes, all of my children are adopted. Renters are allowed to foster. I think there's a misconception. A lot of people think that they have to be married or own a home and have a certain income to foster. You do not. I have lots of single friends that foster children, and they rent apartments. It's totally fine. As long as you can provide a healthy, loving home, you're good to go. Miyoki, we're actually going to talk about foster care today. Hi, Kennedy. How are you? Interesting. Okay, let's see. It's hard for me to keep up with the chat. I'm going to try to do my best, but just so you guys know, this video will go live a couple hours after this. So if you missed something, you can go ahead and re-watch it. Let's see. Is a senior citizen able to take foster parent? I don't see why not. It all depends on your health. I don't think there's an age requirement. It just all depends on your health. Do you need to get permission to record the kids when you're fostering? You mean like on YouTube? You are not allowed to post foster children on social media or share their photos at all. That is definitely a no-no. That is not accepted for privacy reasons, obviously. How do you get licensed to adopt? So, well, before a couple years ago, you could be a foster parent without adopting, without getting licensed to adopt. Now, the foster care system is really trying to weed through a lot of the bad apples, as you would say. So, they have created this new system called a resource family system, and now all foster parents have to be licensed to adopt. I think it's really helped, and it's weeded out a lot of the people that are doing it for the wrong reasons. But how you become a foster parent is you just decide if you want to go with the county or with a agency. Those are the two type of places that you can get licensed to foster or to adopt through. So you reach out to them, and then there's an interview on the phone. There's lots of paperwork. There's fingerprints. There's a health screening that you need to get filled out by your doctor. And then there's pride training, lots of classes, lots of home inspections, making sure your home is safe. All the medicines are locked up. You have a fire extinguisher, carbon monoxide, smoke detectors work, outlet covers. There's a whole process to it. But the first step is just to reach out to your current county, your county that you're in, or the agency, and go from there. Did you prefer to foster a certain age range? Yes, absolutely. Because we already had Asa, Nevaeh, and Elia in the home when we did a majority of our fostering, we tried to stick to their age range. So we really liked the 1 to 4 or 5 age range because our kids were like 3 and 4 at the time. So we really wanted them to all play together and have the same interests. So that age really worked for us. Before the twins came, we did foster teens, and that worked. But once we had kids in the home, we tried to stick with the same range. For some reason, we got a lot of newborns from the hospital. So we had lots of newborns like straight from the hospital. What would be the difference between going through a county or going through the agency? Paula asked. So when kids enter care, the county tries to find a home for them. If they cannot find a home within their county licensed homes, then they give it to the agency, and the agency finds a home, if that makes sense. I was with the county for a while, and then when I moved, the county that I moved to didn't have a good reputation for fostering, so I did end up going with an agency, and we got a lot of calls still. So I think a lot of people go to the county because they think they're going to get more calls, but it really just depends. I mean, at the time, county homes were full, so we got a lot of calls at the agency. Let's see. What do they look for in your home before you can foster? Do their kids need their own room? Yes. So you can have, let's say, for example, you're in a 1-bedroom apartment, okay? You and your spouse, or maybe just you yourself. You can have up to 2 babies under 2 in your own room, in their own cribs in the room. But if you want to have children over 2 and multiple them, they need their own room. So the rule, well, in California, it was under 8. So you can have 2 boys under 8 or over 8 together in a room, and the same thing with girls. But if you're going to have a girl that's younger, or a boy that's younger than 8 and a girl that's older than 8, they have to be split up. So the cutoff there is 8. Do I want to keep my kids forever? Absolutely. They are my children. They're not going anywhere. My children are 5, 6, 8, and 9-year-old twins. If you want to adopt a teen but don't want their siblings, can they get separated? Yes, they get separated all the time. I really suggest, if you want to foster, to keep your mind open to adopting the whole sibling set to keep them together. It's already traumatizing being in foster care enough, and to have siblings get separated, it's really, really difficult. But, it really depends on the severeness of the reason why they're in care. Sometimes a sibling is hurting the other sibling. Sometimes a sibling has special needs that require one-on-one attention, and there's a lot of other siblings, and it's too much for one family to handle. So it really just depends. We do not have plans to foster again. I don't think so. I think when my kids get older, I think we will. But unfortunately, if I were to foster again, I would not be on here helping support other foster parents and adopted parents, because that's just like a no-no. So I wouldn't be able to be on a platform like this and help other people if I was a licensed foster parent. When you foster, is there any contact between you and the biological parents? Alice asked. That's a very good question. It really all depends on the scenario, but the goal is to foster the family. So 9 times out of 10, when you bring the child to a visit, you're going to run into the biological parent, and it's always best to introduce yourself, as hard as it may be, especially if you know what that person did to that child. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult, but I have found that it's very, very helpful to introduce yourself and let them know that you're taking care of their child. If they need anything, let you know. That makes a huge difference in helping them concentrate on the things that they need to do to get their kids back, rather than concentrating on fighting the system and scared, not knowing where their child is. If you can just kind of relieve that and break that bridge and let them know, hey, I'm here for you, then they can breathe, and then they can focus on things they need to focus on to get their kids back. Oftentimes, biological parents are so, into fighting the system to get their kid back, when they're not doing A through Z what they need to do to get their kid back, and then time runs out. So it's really important to create that relationship if you can and if you're comfortable. Can you just put them online and just blur their faces? Sure, but some agencies are stricter than others, and I don't recommend you doing that. I've done that a few times in the very beginning, and then I regretted doing it. you can tell who the child is. If a biological parent were to see it, they know it's their child. So I don't recommend you doing that. Are Natalia and Lily related? Yes, they are. They are sisters. They are biological sisters. Yes, it is a lot of paperwork when you adopt a child. Yes, for sure. What do you do to make your foster home feel a home? I absolutely love that question. Thank you so much, Gio, for asking that. I think that for me, it's just being as like empathetic as I can. This child just got ripped from their home, and then they went to somewhere where they got, a nurse looked at them, their body, to make sure that they're okay, and to like, do an investigation, and then go in strange rooms with cops and social workers, and they're pretty scared. So by the time they end up at your door, they're pretty scared and they're mistrusting. They don't trust anyone. So I have actually enlisted my children to help me a lot on this, because I feel like when there's other children to welcome you and to show you the room and to give you a snack and that stuff, it really makes a huge difference, because at that time, like, adults are pretty scary at that time. So my kids have gotten really good at like being the welcoming party. Like if I know that they're around the corner, I'm like, okay guys, we're going to be the welcoming party. We're going to help these kids and we're going to have them come in the house. Sometimes I often just introduce myself and I'm like, do you want to go play? I don't worry about anything else. I don't worry about giving them a bath or brushing their hair, giving them a snack, figuring out what they like to eat, if they need clothes, nothing. Just like, hey, what's up? Do you want to go play? And I have them go play outside, and I watch them from the house, and I just let the kids play with them, and I let them be a kid. That's probably the first moment they've had in a couple days where they can just be a child, and then we'll figure out the rest. Do you have to give the child back to their birth mom if they want it back? So I'm glad you asked that question, because that is not how foster care works. The parent could just be like, I want my kid back. Foster children are in foster care because they were taken away from their parents. It is not a choice. So they did not say, here, I just can't take care of my kid now, I'm going to come back for the child. These children are taken away from their home for neglect or abuse or a death in the family, and there's no one else to take care of the child. So no, they cannot just come back and get their kids back whenever. The court orders them to do certain things to get their child back. If they fail to do that, their child goes to adoption or goes to a family member, whatever the case may be. So no, they cannot just take their child back. I'm sorry I'm missing a lot of questions, but I will be doing these weekly. There will be a new topic weekly. The best way to catch them is to subscribe and get post notifications so you can get notified when I go live. Okay, any other questions on foster care? Jakayla. That's a really fun name to say. Thank you for your question, Jakayla. Do you still have children you fostered that you keep in contact with? Yes, I do. I actually have a mom that I've been talking to recently, a little boy we fostered for 5 or 6 months. We still are in very close contact, and I actually have been talking to her about possibly coming on and doing like an interview, and so we can talk about like how she felt when she met me. What could I have done differently? How, did she feel confident in, having her child in my care? What it was like to get her kid back, how she feels now, because she actually got her baby back. So I think that would be a really cool thing. Yes, I talk to a lot of people. I have 2 friends that have adopted 2 of my foster children, and then I have a sister that adopted 1 of my foster children as well. And we keep in contact, obviously, with them, but with several other families that have got their kids back, including a couple grandmas. What age do you tell your kids that they're adopted? My children know. They have always known. I prefer that approach. Is there a maximum amount of period that kids stay in foster care without getting adopted? Eli, thank you so much for that question. So this is, varies as well. So I've had children be in foster care for 6 months because parents went off the face of the earth or they relinquished their rights and they got adopted after like 6 or 7 months. That is the very soonest they can get adopted. I have known some people, my friend had a little girl. She's adopted now, but she had been in care for 4 years. And that is just really extreme cases. Those are very, very rare. Natalia and Lily were in care for a little over 24 months. And those are special case scenarios. That happens when certain things happen that it's a special case scenario. What is it like to take an adoptive placement only? So when you become a foster to adopt parent and you're like, I only want kids that are going to be adoptable, you can do that. You might be waiting for a lot longer, especially if you're really particular with the kind, the age or the sex of the child, blah, blah, blah. But it really, really just depends. It really depends. But most of the time, that child is in a foster home and that child needs to be adopted, and that foster home is only looking to foster only. So then that child would need an adoptive home and that child would transition into that new home. And it could take weeks or it could take a couple months depending on the case, the scenario or the needs of the child, on how attached they are to the adoptive family. So they normally would just transition, and then the child needs to be in your home for at least 6 months before the child can be adopted. I'm sorry, there is so many questions. I'm looking into a way to maybe make like a members only type of thing. Hey, Dole Whip, how are you? Thank you so much. I'm looking into a way that we can maybe make this a little bit more private to weed out some of the people that don't really have questions that are just kind of spamming the chat, so that I can answer more questions. But if you do have burning questions and you're really, really interested in foster care, you can always message me, DM me on Instagram, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, what did your foster children call you? Okay, so every child was different. Some children never called me mom. They just called me Miss Christy or Auntie Christy or just Christy or nothing at all. They just said, hey, I'm hungry. So it really depends. I did have some of my foster kids, they did call me mom just because they felt like I was their mom at the time. And the other kids were calling me mom, so it made them feel comfortable. So whatever they want. Some of them called me mom and they called Ed Uncle Ed. So it's whatever they're comfortable with. Do you know the young woman from the movie Closure? No, I have not even seen that movie. Could you please share the benefits of fostering older children and possibly adopting them? Younger children are more likely to be adopted. Older children usually go into the system, unfortunately. Yes, they do. It takes a very special person to adopt a teen. They can be very difficult, but it also can be so super rewarding to give that child a family before they age out, because statistically, teens that age out are not as likely to succeed, and they have like depression and anxiety and things because they didn't have that sense of belonging. So if you are open to adopting teens, I suggest you please do it, because there are so many teens out there who do not have a home. What is the hardest part of foster care? Nadia asked. The hardest part, there's a couple things. Hardest part, number one, is seeing a child come into your home with extreme abuse, trauma, neglect, and just seeing their body or seeing their broken down spirit. That is very, very difficult. But it's very rewarding to kind of pick up the pieces and help them. And when they start learning more speech and then they start giving a little more trust and smiling, that's super rewarding. The foster care system is not perfect. It is not perfection by any means. So sometimes you run into, I want to call them faulty, but that's kind of like faulty workers. Sometimes you run into people that are not very good at their job. And thank you, Jane, so much is that called a super chat? I don't even know. I'm not a live streamer. I don't even know. Do you meet income requirements to be eligible foster parent? I will get to that question right after Jane. So the other thing is, You run into judges and social workers that are not that good, and that's really hard when they make decisions that you don't agree with. So that is a really hard, or if you feel like the parent is not ready to get their child back, but they do, that is a very difficult, hard part. Thank you, Christina O. So Jane asked, are there income requirements to be a foster parent? And yes, there are. They are specific to each person. So you need to prove income-wise that you can afford your own home, your own bills, your own current children, that you are able to afford everything on your own. I think a lot of foster parents become foster parents because they're struggling financially and they can't keep up with their bills. So they think through fostering kids, whether they really want to help the kids or not, but the main reason is they're doing it for the money, and they are trying to weed those out. So yes, you have to be able to take care of your own household and your own income. So it really depends on you guys. They'll work that out when they assess you. Yes, some of our kids do keep in contact with their biological families. Yes. I don't know if we're going to adopt more. I'm definitely, next week is going to be an adoption Q&A, all things adoption. I didn't want to do that today because I do have some of my kids home, and I know there's going to be a lot of personal and sensitive questions regarding our adoptions. So I chose to do that topic next week. So this week we're just going to focus on foster care, all things foster care. No, Hannah. Okay, Eli asked if a child goes back to their biological parents after they are already in foster care and then they come back into the system, does the current family or the family that they had, the foster family, have priority? Yes and no. So they will look at their foster care history and see who had them, and they will call that family. But if the family is full, they're going to have to find another foster family. If the family has room and they say yes, then yes, that family does have priority. That has happened to us with Gigi, guys. If you know her story, she came back into care. How much do you make by fostering? You do not make money. Foster care income is meant to offset the cost of having that extra family member in your home. Food, clothing, electricity, anything that has to do with taking care of that child. Summer camps, dance class, gymnastics, football. That money is not income. It is not taxable income. It is just a reimbursement to reimburse you for what you have paid for this child to be in your family. That brings me to this. Tomorrow I have a video surrounding foster care income. Can you make a profit? Can you make money with foster care income? That comes out tomorrow. You're welcome, Eiffel Tower. How can you eliminate bad memories of the child being adopted? Ooh, girl, I am not an expert. I don't know. You cannot erase memories. All you can do is replace them with good memories as much as you can. Yes, a lot of people mistaken the little ones for our biological children because their nationality mix is very similar to my husband and I. Did you enroll your foster children in clubs? What kind of clubs? How did you make the decision to follow dream? There's so many questions, guys. I am so sorry. Okay, so when you guys do like a donation, yours pops up. Will you be rejected to be a foster adoptive parent if someone in your family is against you doing it? Oh my gosh, what a great question. I really don't know, but I know that that is such a good question. I can't even tell you how good that is. It's very little when I'm stumped. I think they'll definitely take that into consideration because they do contact your family. We had to have our family and friends write like letters of recommendation, and they called them and asked them a few questions. So I really don't know. But, you are your own person. So if you're able to, foster and live a lifestyle and help these children, and you're able to, cut them off, it really depends on your mindset and how you answer certain questions, I'd say. That's really difficult. I'm really sorry if that's happening in your life. That is so difficult. Do you have to be a special age to adopt children? I think it varies by county. I think I've heard something like 18, 19, but I think in California, my county, it was 25. Okay, I saw a question here. Can homosexual families adopt a foster? I really want to talk about this because I have several same couples of friends that have adopted. Actually, two men, very, very good friends of ours, a married couple, they fostered and adopted a girl that really inspired us to. So absolutely. And you don't have to be married either. Hannah, I don't know if we're going to be adopting more kids. My husband and I are currently talking about this, actually. It's a very 50-50 at this point. What age did you and Ed adopt? So how old was I? I was 31 when we adopted the twins, and Ed was 33, I think, because we're currently 38 and 40. I'm seeing a lot of adoption questions. I'm going to try to stick to foster care only right now because there's a lot of people in here that are interested in foster care. And so I really want to answer those questions right now. And then next Monday will be all about adoption. I will answer this one by Mia. No, she does not feel any different. Can me and my husband work full-time and also foster? Absolutely. I think that I was working for full-time, and so was my husband when we initially started fostering. We lived in the San Francisco Bay Area. We lived in a 2-bedroom townhouse. I worked full-time. He worked full-time. Our first placement was 2 little girls, and my husband left really early in the morning, so I remember rushing to get them ready, dropping them off at daycare, driving 45 minutes to my job, and then my husband would get off early to pick the girls up, and then we'd meet home for dinner. So yes, you can. I do suggest you. Thank you so much, Rashida. Thank you. I hope I'm providing some good tips for you all. When you guys donate, even if it's a penny, it's a bright light on my screen, and I see that automatically. So if you have a burning question, maybe do a penny or something, and it comes up really visible for me. So yes, you can foster and work full-time. Absolutely. As long as you're willing to maybe take a day or 2 off until you can get the kids situated in a daycare or in school, or just kind of get them settled a little bit. Yes, you can be a single parent as long as you have income to take care of yourself. You will qualify. Thank you, Your Sleep Ghost. I'm trying to catch as much as I can. Have I fostered children with special needs? Yes, I have. With a little bit of special needs. You need to be a therapeutic caregiver to take care of children with great needs, like feeding tubes and extreme disabilities, things like that, because you need to be trained to take care of those children. You can be a therapeutic caregiver and go through an extended amount of training to do that. Also to take babies with extreme cases of babies being exposed. There's also another training for that as well. And that's what I did. I took care of exposed infants. Thank you, CA. I will keep it up. Thank you. See, it popped up for me when there's a little donation, it pops up so I can read it instantly. What if the kid wants to go? What do you mean? So if a kid wants to go home while they're in your home, if a child, this is a good conversation I'm going to spin off of that. If a child is very distraught and crying, obviously they can't go home. Their parent did something that they need to make up, and they need to, work out so they can be better parents. That is my tagline that I always tell kids, like, you are safe here. Your mommy's my friend. I'm going to take care of you. And your mommy's doing what she needs to do so she can be a better parent for you. A lot of times, children are unconsolable, and the first night is extremely rough. It does get better. Every single child I've had, it does get better. But if they're just really not connecting with you, and it's really a struggle, which I've never had this happen, but I've heard of it happening, you can look for another home that maybe they'd be more comfortable in. Maybe they're not comfortable with a mother figure because, their mother might have done something to them, or a father figure. So if the family dynamic is not working, yes, it would be good to find a different home, and you can just, contact your social worker about that. Yes, of course, Amaya, if you hurt your foster child, your child will be taken away, and you will actually probably get in a lot of trouble. Barbara Bates, my girl. Barbara Bates just donated $100. What is that, Barbara? Oh, my heart. I'm probably going to be doing a giveaway to give away that $100 because I don't feel right accepting that. I love helping you all. Thank you so much, Barbara. I have it on my schedule in 1 hour to go to the post office because Barbara sent me something in the mail, and I'm really excited. So I'm sorry I haven't gone last week, but I am going today. I promise. Thank you, Barbara. No, Lily and Natalia are not Russian. What year did we adopt the kids? The twins we adopted in 2013. Elia, I think 2016. And Natalia and Lily, we adopted October 2019. Yes, October 2019. I know, Taylor. Barbara is coming in. This is a question a lot of people ask a lot, and has nothing to do with foster care, but I'll answer it because I've seen it a lot. Elia is not her birth name. She chose to change her name for personal reasons. It was her choice. Her birth name did start with a G, and she's always, from the day she came here, she did not want to be called that name, that her biological name that her parents gave her, biological parents gave her. So we always just called her Gigi for short, and she chose to change her name. Funny story about Elia. She wanted her name to be Aaliyah because she had two best friends that were both named Aaliyah. And I love that because I love the artist Aaliyah. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I love it. So we wanted to name her Aaliyah, but Ed really wanted a child that have like a connection with, because him and Elia really get along well. So he suggested Elia for Ed with an E, and she loved it. So that's where Elia's name came from. Thank you, Becky. We are all doing well. Thank you. Do you think the coronavirus changed the demand of fostering? I really don't know, to be honest with you, because we stopped being foster parents right after we adopted Natalia and Lily. We were actually really excited to move on. We were so excited. I knew it was time to move on. So I really don't know. Have you ever had to deal with a mental illness? Not with the children, but I have dealt with some of the biological children with that mental illness and biological family. And that's been really difficult, actually. It's really been difficult. How old were you when you adopted? I think I was like 31. I was like 29 when I became a foster parent. Thank you, Brittany. How do you start a YouTube channel? You just start. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. You just start. How long did you foster a child? Well, we were foster parents for 9 years. We had 36 children. 5 of them ended up staying forever. I fostered children from anywhere from one day, literally 24 hours before a family member came in, thank goodness, and picked them up. to 2.5 years was the longest I had a foster child that ended up not staying. But of course, my adopted children, they've stayed longer. Thank you, Taylor. I'm 38. Gigi is not shy. She's just soft spoken. She is just like, and it's not just when the camera's on. She's has a mild temperament. She's very soft spoken, but she's not shy. Because if you talk to her, she will talk. It'll just be in a soft way. Thank you, Mira, but let's not spam the chat, please. It makes it really difficult. How do you deal? Okay, someone asked a question here and it's going so fast I can't keep up. How do you deal with the emotional attachment and bond to the foster kid and they're entering reunification and leaving your home? Oh my gosh, I could cry right now about this. I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you all. Not every child I bonded with and I had a huge connection with. There were some children that I was caring for and it was very, very hard to create a bond. They're just, our spirits didn't match and they were very like resistant and it was just very, very difficult. This is like maybe 3 out of the 36 kids. But for the most part, I really got along with them. I bonded with them. They trusted me. There were a few that were very, very hard to let go. And it was only because the reunification happened so like abruptly. And I felt like I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I remember I took a trip to Vegas for a meeting for 48 hours and I used respite. Respite is when another foster parent within your county or agency takes care of your foster children while you take a break or go on a vacation or something if you need a break from fostering because it can be really heavy. So these 2 kids that I had, one was a newborn baby. He was about 3 months old at the time. I had him since he was born, like 5 days old. The little girl was like 3.5. I went away for 24 hours and I got a call on my trip that they were being picked up from the respite home and being taken back to the biological parents. I really, really struggled with that because I didn't get to say goodbye. And I think that was the most heartbreaking scenario because I don't know where they are. I don't know how they're doing. They're obviously not on social media. They're kids. So I think that is the hardest part. Are the girls daddy girls or mommy's girls? You know what? The girls, for the most part, they're all daddy's girls, I'd say. But they love going shopping with their mama. Like I took Avea out for a very special off topic, but I took Avea out yesterday. It was her turn. We went for a special like mom and daughter date and we spent $150 at Target. Then we went to Home Goods and we spent some time together. So I love doing that with my girls. I love just rotating. Thank you, Rita, $20. Wow. Guys, I am not asking for donations. This is just amazing. I'm probably going to keep track of this and do like a giveaway back to you all because that's not why I'm on here, but it's so appreciative. Thank you. It makes me feel really good that you guys appreciate me and value what I'm putting out. Do we ever have to deal with children with trust issues? Absolutely. 9 out of 10 of them have trust issues. I do not have a favorite child. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me see if I can answer some of these. It's going really fast. Now that your family is diverse, have you experienced any favoritism given towards your younger daughters as compared to your older Black babies? No, I think people are very quick to judge because we may pick up the little ones more or kiss them more, but they're younger. They're babies. I can pick them up. I mean, they're not babies. They're 5 and 6, but they're tiny. They're small for their age. So a lot of times when we're out and about, I'll pick up Natalia. So and then like hold the other kid's hand, and that's not favoritism. But I think a lot of people think that, but no, absolutely not. So I've had the twins since they were only 4 and 5 pounds straight from the hospital. They were tiny little babies, fragile, premature babies. And we've gone through heart surgery with Avea. So we are very, very bonded with them. Very. Thank you, Rita. That's so sweet. Yes, the older two, Ace and Nevaeh, are twins. Thank you, Mom Squad. Did fostering ever affect your marriage? This is very personal, but very valid question. I would say yeah. I'm going to be completely transparent. When I came on here to do this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be real. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It was never to a breaking point, but just like with normal parenting, sometimes you clash on parenting styles or parenting techniques and things. And it was very difficult when you have multiple different children coming in that have multiple kinds of trauma and things. And sometimes I thought that we needed to nip things in the butt right away. And then Ed was like, you know what, let's just let him get away with it for a little bit. Or there was often times when Ed was like, absolutely not, this is unacceptable. And I'm like, but honey, his mom did this to him. We can't do that. So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of conflict, but I wouldn't say it got to the point where it like affected like traumatically, permanently our marriage. Ed and I have been married for a very long time. I think we've been together for like almost 20 years this year. 20 or 21, something like that. Do you guys still stay in contact with any of the ones that you fostered? Yes. Yes, we do. And I would love to talk about this a little bit more because I think those relationships we have are very special. Does a child care system offer counseling services for families? Absolutely. Especially if you're with an agency, they offer you a lot of support. And that's why I went with the agency later on, because I loved that they actually help the foster family and have their back and advocate for them as opposed to the county that are kind of just interested in the children. So that's why we went with the agency. What grades are your children in? They are in pre-K, first, second, and the twins are in third. Are there more kids in foster care from parents dealing with addiction or neglect and abuse? There's no right answer to that. Completely, it really depends on the demographics. I would say that here in Vegas, there is a lot of children with parents with addiction. It's Sin City. I don't know. I think there's a little bit more partying here. I think in more places, like we would foster kids from Oakland because we're from the Bay Area. And I think a lot of it was neglect over there. And because poverty could be very straining and stressful, and a lot of times I'm just going to say this straight up. Not every parent that gets their child taken away are bad parents. Some of them were just dealt a really difficult hand in life. Some of them have low income. They lost their home. They're homeless. They cannot feed their children. They may have an abusive spouse. So it's really, really important to remember that not all biological families are bad parents. They just need help at that time. Most of the parents that I've met are so sweet and loving and thankful and just need help. Need help. That's all it is. How we discipline our children is no different than how we would discipline a foster child. I have learned a lot of my discipline, I've learned how to discipline children according to what the foster care system wants and what they approve of. I actually agree with a lot of their methods, so I've been using those with my own children. My birthday is December 1st. If you are a single foster parent, if you friend upon, you get a significant other. Is it frowned upon if you get a significant other? No, I don't think so. You can have like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but if your new boyfriend or girlfriend decides to live with you, then they need to be fingerprinted and they need to go through the process with you because they're going to be parenting and living in the same home as you. Does that answer your question? Twin T2, cute name. Okay, you're doing what I want. Thank you, Christina Z. I'm so glad my hair videos help you. Okay, so I'm going to be on here for about 10 more minutes. So if you guys have any last minute questions, I need to head to the P.O. box and get Barbara's package. I need to feed Natalia lunch. She's in there doing her ABC Mouse on her tablet. I also want to ask you in a couple of minutes, as soon as I get a little more questions in, if you guys have any ideas for topics that you want me to talk about. Next week, like I said, is going to be in all things adoption. Questions about adoption, my adoption, adoption in general. But after that, I want to know what kind of things you guys want to talk about. Kayla, do biological parents ever try to physically take, well, let me see. Where to go? Physically take their children back from foster home? Me, no. Wow, Juicy Curls, that's kind of personal. I'm here for it, girl. Hold on a second. So, quick little story time. I worked for my foster care agency at the same time as I fostered. So I have a perspective from a foster parent and also an adoption, like, foster care worker type of scenario. So I got to see both ends. And a part of my job was to pick up foster children when they came into care, drop them off at foster homes, pick up children from the foster homes, take them to their supervised visits. And I actually supervised visits. Hold on, Twinty. I will answer that in a second. So I saw a lot. I remember there was this one time when I had to accompany a minor to the hospital to get something checked. This child was special needs. The biological parents met me there so they could be there at the medical appointment, but I was the supervisor there. I supervised because they were only allowed supervised visits. At the end, the father refused to give me the baby back. That was a very scary scenario. When you're like, just missed a car accident, or you slid, or you hydroplaned and you have that like heart racing and your legs start shaking. Like I was shaking in the middle like of the hospital trying to get this baby back from the father. So to answer your question, yes, I've been in a scenario like that. I had to call security. I had to call the nurse. The police came. I finally got the child back at the end and I left, and it was the most scariest thing I've ever been through. Okay, someone asked, I forgot who it was. Let me go back here. Thank you for being patient, Twin T2. Will you be rejected to foster if you have cats or dogs? Absolutely. I have always had pets. The social worker will come in during one of their regular visits to talk to you, and they'll just kind of like check the pets and see if they're aggressive, to see if they're friendly, and then no harm done. You do have to provide that they've had their rabies shots, and you have to keep that up to date. With breeds, which this is such a controversial subject because I absolutely love dogs, including Dobermans and Pit Bulls and Bull Mastiffs and all those supposedly aggressive breeds. We have had them all. They just need to prove that they are obedient and that they're not aggressive. So the social worker will test it, and then you're fine. Thank you, Melina. Yes, my kids are actually going back to school next week. They're on spring break right now. They're outside having fun with their friends. But yes, I'm very excited that distance learning is a closed chapter. Let's just say that. Yes, my youngest girls do have a mixed race, yes. Oh my goodness, Faith, that is terrible. I'm so glad they're okay. Thank you, Lala. Why does Gigi never talk? Gigi talks all the time. She's just soft-spoken. I think that the twins are so chatty and out there that they kind of like overshine her sometimes, but she talks just fine. Let me go back here. There was a question I wanted to answer. How much do you know about a child's background before they are placed in your care? Foster child, you know nothing. Sometimes you don't even know why. You know what? I'm going to write this down because that is placement call. I want to tell you guys what you need to ask when you get called for a placement, because that is the time when you learn most of things. If you don't ask questions, you're not going to know. So I am going to make a video on that because I think that's really beneficial. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, we have about 5 more minutes. If there's any last minute questions, and then I'm going to move on. I'm going to ask you guys what type of topics do you want to hear before I close it out in 5 minutes. Yeah, I think there's an extreme lag, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I will not be doing an Easter basket video or any more what I got my kids for Christmas videos because my kids are too old now. All that stuff I will share on Instagram only, but I won't be not making videos of that. It's not worth it for me to ruin the magic with my kids. Elia is 7 months younger than the twins from a different family. How do I afford to take care of a large family? Both my husband and I have full-time incomes. We are pretty good at budgeting and managing our money. And we actually live in Las Vegas, but we lived in the San Francisco Bay Area 7 or 8 months ago. And it's very expensive there. So we're paying a lot more. So when we moved here, we were able to get a newer and a bigger home and a lot more affordable. And our mortgage is way less than it was there. So that's how we afford to have a large family. You're getting into foster care. Can I make a video about getting started? Yes, I will. Foster care, getting started. Yes. I actually do a lot of spend my day with me type of videos. They're called day in the lives. So I do a lot of those on my channel. I just posted one. So if you guys, I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta go. But the videos that I posted this past week, I did post a vlog, like a weekend vlog of us just hanging out and going to eat sushi as a family and watching Ace's first football game of the season. And then we did one on the benefits of eating dinner as a family together, which we do, which is super beneficial for foster parents to watch that because it really helps a child feel like they belong and they're a part of the family and they're an equal part of the family. It really helps with trust and gaining confidence and getting to know your kids, as well as communication and speech. So there's a video on that. Also the importance of diversity, which I think every foster parent should watch because it really gives you like a reality check of how important that is. So definitely check out those videos that I posted this past week. Do you want more kids? Okay, this is the last one I'm going to answer. Yeah, I think I do. My husband and I have been talking about this a lot lately, and I think we're going to be, as soon as we figure some things out, I think in the next month or two, we're going to be sharing it with you all, but we're not exactly sure what our route is going to be yet. But I think we do have a little more love to give. Yes. Okay, guys, so I am going to go. Thank you so much. This is going to be on replay. This is going to be a permanent video on my channel. So definitely watch it over and over again. Please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see you guys next week. If you have any questions that I did not get to, I apologize. Please follow me on Instagram. It's the same name here, Christy Gior. I try, like at nighttime in bed, I really try to answer everyone's questions. But that is the best place to get in touch with me. And I love chatting with you all. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Barbara, if you're still here. Rita, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Bye, guys.